Hi, I'm Paul Seal from codeshare.co.uk, and this is episode 2 of my new series, which is showing you how to add comments to any Umbraco site. And what we're going to end up doing is something like this, where you can enter a name and you can enter a message, and then you will submit the message and it will show up there. And then we'll also do something to clear these on submit of the form and things like that. But that's the basic premise of this. If you didn't watch the first episode, it's probably best to go back and watch that one first. You'll see how to create the database table and create the classes and the helper methods in order to communicate with the database. So basically the data layer. In this episode, what I want to do is have a look at the controller and the views that are needed for this to work. So this is what I've done on my development site for codeshare.co.uk. This isn't actually on the live site for codeshare.co.uk. I'm still in two minds whether I want to add this on there or not, because I use Discus. I'll just show you the difference. So if anyone asks me what comments, how would you do comments on Umbraco, I would say I would add Discus on there, which is basically a plugin. It iframes in and you can comment and do things like that. But this is for people that know that but still want to do comments in Umbraco. What I would definitely say is don't create comments as content items in Umbraco. It's just crazy talk. So definitely do it as a separate table and just relate the comments to the ID in the table. So let's go into my mother-in-law's website, which I did the last course on. So you would have seen this site before if you followed that one. So the idea is we're going to add this comments functionality to my mother-in-law's site. So let's have a look at the code so far. So we had the comment view model, so we'll be using that in this episode. The comments helper, we'll be using that if we get to there in time. The comment record, so this is getting that from the database. We have an ID, a name, a message, the content ID, which it relates to, the date the comment was created and the date it was last updated. Now, I am aware that by just letting people just put a name in and not register and things like that, I'm aware that that could be a problem for some people. I just want to go through different stages to show you how to do this, and then maybe you want to take it on later and do where people can register and then they can start leaving comments if they're a registered member. This is just talking about using your name and putting a message in. You can work out the rest of it, I'm sure. Anyway, so let's get on with some code then. So I need to make sure I have a comment controller. So at the moment I don't have one, so let's add a new class. So I've right-clicked on controllers in the web project, new class, and I'm going to do comment controller. Now this controller needs to use system.web.mvc. It also needs to use umbraco.web.mvc. So I'm adding these references at the top, and in here I need to get this to inherit from surface controller. We're going to need a couple of actions, 2 or 3. So first action, this one is going to be render comments list. I'll just check actually what I've called it on, because I've already implemented this on CodeShare. I may as well be consistent with what I've done. So in the web project for CodeShare, that's it. Right, so I've called it comments controller. I might just copy this actually. I'm just going to rename it to comments just to be consistent with what I've already done. And I'm going to update the namespaces. So this is going to be Fiona Whitfield Art. It doesn't end with .web, it's just Fiona Whitfield Art. And then the references now to the library with the helpers and the data access layer and the models. So for some reason it doesn't like that. I think that is because the web project doesn't have a reference yet to the data access layer. So I need to right click, add reference, go to projects in this solution and just tick Fiona Whitfield Art.dal. So now my controller will be able to see that. So what have I added here then? So as I was starting off, I've added System Web MVC, Umbraco Web MVC. I've added the references to the models and the helpers. I've inherited from Surface Controller. I've set up so this is a private variable for the comments helper, because this is an instance, it needs to be created as an instance of it rather than being a static class. It doesn't have static methods on it. Since trying to write more testable code, I've tried to move away from writing static methods on static classes. So yeah, so whenever you need to use the comments helper, it just looks up this, creates the comments helper. So I've got my way of getting, because I like to use folders in Umbraco for the partial views. This allows you to do that. I've got a get view path method, which basically, because if you're using folders in Umbraco, it doesn't necessarily work with the routing properly. It works fine with MVC for the routing, but it doesn't quite work out with Umbraco. So I like to get view path with this. So you just pass in the name of the view. So make sure you have one of those as well. So we've got a render comment form. So this comment form is going to be the actual form which you see on CodeShare here. This is the form. Then we've got render comments. So that is going to show you the list of comments. And we also have a submit action method as well. So it's a pretty lean bit of code. There's not really that much to it. And that's how your controllers should be as well, because you don't really want to have too much logic in your controllers. You want to put that out into the other libraries, the other places where you update that. So for instance, the comments helper, with this, now when I want to render comments, I want to get them by the content ID of the page. So if we go through to this uses a linked SQL method to connect to the database and return a list of comment records where the content ID on the record matches the content ID passed in. So we know the content ID because that comes from render comments, it's passed into there, and the way I get that is from the ID of the page that we're on. And the same goes for the comment form. I pass that into there as well, and then I'm not actually using that. Render comment form content ID. So actually what I might do here is do new comment view model. So I'll do comment view model equals new comment view model, and then I will do model dot content ID equals lowercase content ID. Whoops. So that way I'm passing that in, and then I can persist that with a hidden field on the actual view itself. So now I'll pass in model. And someone's ringing the phone again, so this is another hilarious moment. So just let that hilarious moment pass by and we'll carry on. So we've got return partial view, comment form. So let's just have a look at this then to start with. Let's look at the comment form. So I've done it on CodeShare. So let's go to views and then partials, comments, comment form. I'm going to select all, and I'm going to bring it over to Fiona Whitfield Art, going to create a folder inside partials. And then going to create this partial view. So this partial view is called _comment form. So when my computer catches up with me, let me just check I'm on. Just make sure I've got the full power. Sorry about this. Yeah, high performance. Okay, so _comment form. Create as a partial view. So when I paste this in, again, I need to make sure the namespaces are all correct. So if I paste that in, go back to the top, and I just want to change that to be Fiona Whitfield Art. .library.models comment view model. That then resolves any issues that we have. So a lot of this is just HTML markup. So this is just the outer part, and the row. I'm using Bootstrap. The site that I built before, my mother's website, is built in Bootstrap anyway. But really all that is IDs and classes. Well, it's just mainly classes that it recognizes and it styles for you. So again, as I was saying, this is all HTML, and then we've got a render action here to render the comments. So even though within the form, I've got it to render the comments within the form, because we pass in on the comment view model, we already have the results. Actually, we don't have the results. What do we do? Oh, I'm just getting it to run the action anyway, and then I'm passing in the content ID from the current page. Okay, and someone asked me once, why do I use Umbraco view page rather than just @model? Well, because I'm using Umbraco view page, I can now use this to get the ID. If I didn't have that and I just did @model, I wouldn't be able to get the context of Umbraco to get that. So things like that are useful. So we've also got this markup around here just saying leave a reply. So let's look how that relates to the site. Leave a reply there is the H4. And then this is where the form actually begins. So this is the actual logic of this, the working part of this form. So I'm using Ajax. So in order to use Ajax, we have to make sure that on the view that it's got access to the scripts that it needs. And those scripts that this needs is the jQuery validation scripts. Let me just check. I don't think I've used that before on this project. I'm just going to have a look at my references. So let's add that then. So I've done a blog post before on CodeShare that allows you to add, that shows you how to make client-side script work to enable client-side validation. So you're looking for MVC client-side form validation on codeshare.co.uk. This is the page. So what we want to do is we want to use these references. Now, if we don't have these references, these scripts, we need to get them installed. It looks like I have already installed them on this website, so that's good for me. But if you haven't already installed them, you can add them by going to NuGet, and by using NuGet in the Package Manager console. You just click on that there, and then you type in, you can copy and paste that. So first of all for the unobtrusive validation, and then for the unobtrusive Ajax. That will then make sure you've got all the scripts you need. So then we can just copy this. I'm already using jQuery on my site, so I don't need the reference to jQuery at the top there. But if you see here, I've got jQuery min. Then on my actual page where I'm using this, where it's going to be useful, which is only going to be on a blog post, I'm going to do an @section, scripts bottom, and then I'm going to paste those in. So this @section scripts bottom, if you've not seen this before, this just basically relates to this where I've defined a section that I want to be rendered on the templates below it. So that means that it basically, if you've done web forms before, it's like a placeholder for where this portion of stuff will go from the templates lower down. That way, as the templates inherit from this one, they'll get rendered in the right place and after the right scripts have already been rendered as well. So we can go back to this blog post. So we've got the correct scripts being put out onto the page at the right place. So let's go back to the comment form. So that means that this Ajax will work for this. So I'm saying the method that I'm going to use is a post. The insertion mode I'm going to use is a replace. And the update target ID is comments list. Now let's look at this. We've got ID here, comments list. So on the first page load, it calls this action to render the comments anyway. But then also when this form is submitted, what it'll do is the result of this form being submitted, which is in the controller. So there's a controller action here, submit comment form. The result of this is it will render comments, and the render comments basically returns the comments list. So as you can see on the comment form, it calls it initially on the first load render comments, but also the result of this form is also to render comments, and this target will replace the contents of comments list with the result. So that's how, when you submit this page, when you do another comment and then you hit submit, that's how that happens there. It replaces that. So all these comments are re-rendered again. So that's how that's working. We've got an anti-forgery token, html.anti-forgery token, and what that does is that just makes sure that it's a bit of validation to say that this request came from this site, this server. So it's between the front end and the back end. They should have the same token. So that's how that works. So it renders it on the front end and it's passed through with the form, and the server side is expecting that token that it gave out in the first place. So also this has got the HTTP post after it. So this submit comment form is only for HTTP post actions. Right, so and again, very little logic in here, but basically it's saying if the model state's valid, then run the create method, pass in the comment view model, and there's not much on the comment view model. We've got a name and a message. We're saying 50 length for the name and 200 length for the message. And we've also got the content ID. So before I was talking about persisting the content ID. So here we've got the hidden for the content ID on the page as well. It is possible for someone to change that, but it wouldn't make sense. I mean, even if they did, what are they actually achieving? It's not really going to get, like I say, you can inspect, edit that attribute, edit that hidden field, but for what? But it's worth being aware of that, though, that other people could edit it if it was an important thing, and if you were running like permissions-based things based on the value of something that's in a hidden field, it's probably not a good idea to do it. But for this, there's no great risk. It's fine to put that as a hidden field just for persisting that content ID, so that it puts the comment to the right page. So then moving down into this, again, using Bootstrap, I'm trying to lay out the form. I don't really like the fact that I've got a 5 and a 7, so I'm going to change that to be a 4 and an 8, just to balance it out a bit more towards the message side. So if we scroll down, no, oh, that's because I've changed it on the wrong one. I've changed it on Fiona Whitfield Art rather than on CodeShare. But we'll have a look at that when we render this out on the page. So then here we are saying show the label for the name field and also show a text box for the name field as well. And this is how you can add a class attribute or any other attributes for that matter. So I can do a placeholder, and I can say placeholder is your name, and I can do the same for a text area as well, which is the message is a text area. So if I want, I can do placeholder and then your message or your comment. So we'll see that in a moment when we get this running on Fiona Whitfield Art. And then we've got a submit button at the bottom as well that submits it. So we've got the name and message on the form. We've got the hidden field for the content ID. So that means that the comment view model's got everything that it needs, and it will then be able to submit. So that will mean that model state is valid if you've kept the size of it correct, etc. You can add other validation onto this as well on the comment view model if you wanted to. I did put a regular expression in to try and prevent, cross-site scripting. The one that I put in, it was making the form not valid anyway, so I'll have a look at that and find a better example of it later. But for now, let's just try and get this working on the site then. So I've got the partial views that I need. Well, I've got one partial view that I need. I also need the comments list partial view. So let's get that one from codeshare.co.uk dev version, and I will show you how that's working as well. So let's go to here. So in comments folder, we need to add a new view, and then we'll do comment list. Just make sure it's the right name. That's comments list. So underscore comments list. Create it as a partial view and then add. So that goes into the comments folder. I'm going to paste this in, and I'm just going to make sure that I've got the right namespace again. So that's all. It's happy with that. Just check, because I'm also streaming live on Twitch. That's one thing to note as well. If you know that I'm in the middle of a series or something and you want to watch it live, you can do on Twitch. I'm not sure how Twitch works at the moment, but I think you might be able to subscribe to me and get push notifications to say when I'm starting streaming. But I don't think many people watch it at the moment. I think it's all about games on Twitch. Anyway, so I've got a comment record. So this, if we look at the controller, what we are saying here is let's pass in a list of comment records as the model to the comments list partial. So go back to comments list, and that's agreeing with that. It's saying so the model part is this inside here, and it's saying the model I'm expecting is a list of comment records. So then this just checks if the model isn't null and it has some records, then loop through those records, render out this markup with those records. This bit of code here is just to say every other one, put an alt class on it. So that's how we're able to have the difference between the different colors on these. It's just got an alt class on one of them and not on the other. So if we inspect that, so it's the second one that's got the alt class. So that's that. So every other, put the alt class, otherwise don't. And then render out the name, the date that it was created, and the message. So that's how we see this part here. So pretty straightforward. One is the list and one is the form. So then the other thing that we need to do is make sure that we are calling this from the actual view itself, so the actual template for the blog post. So if we go to CodeShare and I go to blog post, there'll be some code at the bottom here. So render action comment form. So let's copy this and put this onto the blog post. And probably let's add it in at the bottom inside that outer container. So I'm saying render the action of comment form comments and pass in the ID of this content item. Let's give it a run and see what happens. Probably it won't work. Never works first time, so let's not get upset if it doesn't. Okay, let's run. So Fiona Whitfield home, we want to go to the blog section and we want to look at one of the blog posts, and then we can see if the comments is on there and if it's working. Any minute now. So new iPhone 6 released. Let's go on this one and see if we've got a comments form on there. Come on. Right, so we do. We have a comments form. It looks quite nice actually. So name Paul and a message. So that's quite good. That this has already sort of been styled to work with it. So that was fluke, if I'm honest. So, but because I'm using Bootstrap and the markup that this is rendering is Bootstrap, it already looks quite good. I'm just going to submit a message and see. And straight away, first time, quite fluky, it's rendered it okay as well. Yeah, it's done it. So it's rendering the comments. There wasn't really that much to it, what I had to do there. I did the first part, which was the data layer in the previous episode. And then the second part, I have done the controller, the two partial views. I already had the models set up that those partial views already use. And I just needed to call the form initially on the main view where I want this. So I could have this on every page, or I could just have it on the templates that I'm interested in. So for this, I'm only interested in comments on blog posts. The other thing is I did a bit of styling on mine. So let's go up to the CSS file on CodeShare and just steal a bit of the styling that I put on there. So we go. Let's just copy these few lines and I'll show you those in a moment. I'm going to put these on at the end. Ooh, it doesn't look very good, does it? It's not as good as it was. But you get the idea. It just makes it stand out a bit more. But let's just have a look at those style rules that I've just added on. So I've said for the comments outer part, so on the comments list, the comments form, we've got the comments outer. So for the whole of the comments block, let's have a background colour and a border and some padding. Then I've gone on each row, I want a margin of 10, a white background and some padding top. But every other row, I want to change the background to be the light blue. And I think that's it. What have I done there? All right, and then the comments outer div. I think that one doesn't work. Let me just delete this one. I think this one is broken. Yeah, it didn't actually make a difference, that rule. So I'm going to delete that one off here. So all this styling that I've got is just these rules here to make it look as bad as I've made it. And if you wanted to, you could change the inputs in here. So comments outer, maybe input type equals text, and then just have background color. Probably look better with white. And you might want to do the same for text area as well. So I can just put a comma in and add that extra rule for text area. Save that, give it a refresh. So now it worked for text, and for some reason it's not worked for text area. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on that. I'll probably have to go and have a look at it. But I'll just show you how it works, and you can make it look nice or not, like mine. Anyway, so I think that's enough for this episode. I think I'll probably on the next episode just have a look at some of the validation. Make the form finish when it submits. Do another bit of a callback method which clears these, and one for perhaps to prevent bots. You could add. If we go on to codeshare.co.uk and we'll just have a look for, what's that one called, reCAPTCHA. If you look for reCAPTCHA, we'll probably implement this on there as well. And so that basically makes you tick the box to say I'm not a robot, and if it needs to validate you, it will ask you to say which ones are pictures of rivers or shops. So you can add that on there as well, so that might be useful, just to add a bit of extra validation against bots, because people will, and bots will, send all sorts of rubbish. And also I'll try and have a look into how we prevent the cross-site scripting. I think what my point was on this, it might already be part of it. Might be, with MVC, it might already be protected. Let's just try anyway. So I'm going to submit that. Let's see what happens. Right, so it's not submitted. So I think that is part of the protection that I'm getting with it. It's also not showing me anything. So let's just have a look, see why it's not showing me anything. It's probably I don't have a validation summary. So I think what I'll do is I'll do a validation under each one. Validation message. So this will just tell me if there's an error for this. And also for name. So let's, got to type it in again now. So script alert hi. Right, so it's not coming up with that, but I think there will be an error when it's trying to submit it. It's basically, if I debug this now, it's going to be saying that it's not valid. So if I go to the comments controller, it's going to say the model state isn't valid, and we'll just see what the message is. So if I do submit, normally, that will say it's valid and goes through. But if I do submit with this, it's just not doing it at all. So it might be part of the JavaScript validation that I've got. Oh, here we go. The message field is required. Right. So that is working in terms of that. I'm just wondering, did it show a message and did I just not see it? Let's just try one more time, and I promise this time I'm going to copy that so I don't have to keep typing it. No, so it doesn't show there. I'm not sure why that's not showing. I think that should actually show, but maybe it's just a security thing for you anyway. So that's good. That's reassuring, I suppose. Yeah, just to prove that the validation part on the attributes does work, let me just change something on here. Well, I'll do it so that I've got longer than 200. So if I do lorem ipsum, and I copy that and paste that in, we should get on here, message must be 200 characters or less. Yeah, so it's just not even entertaining putting the script in. So that's good. I'm glad about that. It's probably just one of the security benefits with the JavaScript validation that I'm using, that jQuery validation, unobtrusive Ajax. It's probably just picking that up. And did you notice once I went below 200, the error message went, and I've gone back over again, and the error message has come back. So I can go back under and then submit. Job done. I could sort out the styling for this as well. Anyway, so that's this episode. I've got the comments actually working, got the name and the message passing through. To be honest with you, I don't really think there's that much more you can learn from this. I don't think I need to show you how to add reCAPTCHA. I've got a blog post for you. If anyone watches this and you are desperate for me to show you, then maybe so. I think it's come to an end sooner than I thought, but this is comments in your Umbraco website. Nice and easy, any website. I think I'll just leave it there. I'll just end on a high. Look, let's do this. Let's just leave it. Oh yeah. I tell you what, I'm not going to do another episode. I'm going to finish it here and now. We're going to do this. We're going to finish it. So the other thing to do was to clear these out when it submits. So let me just quickly go onto the blog post. I'm just going to put a little bit of script. Oops. Clear fields. And then this will just run on success of the form, but basically I'm just going to go with, where's the comment form? I just want to get that and just set the val to nothing. So in here I'll just do, and I'll be lazy and use jQuery as well, breaking all the rules. I think that should run. So now all I'm saying is on the form I can add a success. So on success equals, and then I can just say clear fields. And I think that open and close brackets is optional as well. So if we refresh this, yeah, it works now, and it clears the fields after each one. My work's done on this one, but basically you know how to do it now. You know how to add the table, the linked SQL, the controller, the view, the models, everything you need to know how to get started with comments. The rest of it, I'm sure you can use your imagination or find ways to take it further. But I think, yeah, I'm definitely going to leave it at that. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like it on YouTube and comment if you need to. And if you've stuck anywhere, let me know. And I'll try and help you. One last thing before I do go, I'll just go through the code, because I've not put an article up for this, so you might want to see the code again. So I'll just quickly go through it so you've got all of the code that you need, so you can pause it on each section. So that's the controller, comment form, the comments list, how it was called on blog post there, and a bit of style that I added there. I think that's all we did. Just have a look at the comment model again. And yeah, I think that's about it. Oh yeah, just remember these scripts, and remember to look at that blog post on codeshare.co.uk for how to get set up with that client-side validation. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching. I'm not going to say all that lot again. I've already said it. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed this little mini course, 2 episodes. I'll see you again on the next video. Thanks a lot. Bye.